let me tell you a little bit about the Center for Visual Advocacy and the Filmmakers Legal Clinic. So the work that we do really centers on the idea that the way to move hearts and minds is through visuals. There was a time when big pieces of impact litigation, big pieces of print journalism were the ways that we impacted culture and caused change that was in the public interest. We began to see a shift, and the idea of what actually impacts people, of what moves people, of what has the power to create social change, positive social change, is actually the things we see. They're short snippets of video that are on our phones, in our pockets. They're films that we see. They're what we see on streaming services. And as we came to that realization, we decided that we wanted to bring lawyers into the mix of helping social justice advocates really get their message out there. What was really interesting about the work of the Filmmakers Legal Clinic and the Center for Visual Advocacy, which houses the Filmmakers Legal Clinic, is that as access to content increased, right? Basically, everyone can make a video with the phone in their pocket. The legal hurdles to having that advocacy be out there in a way that could be accessed by many eyeballs and have great impact became higher. So as where once upon a time, if you had enough money to shoot on film, you had enough money to pay a lawyer. Now as content increases and we see people shooting at protests, they're shooting in the streets, they're going down to affected areas, they're trying to have impact in the moment, the legal hurdles have gotten huge. And the typical filmmaker or visual advocate or video journalist, in order to have someone see the content that they've made, actually needs a lot of legal help along the way. What we're trying to do here at Cardozo is we're working to provide the legal framework that allows video journalists and social justice advocates who are using visuals to get their message across, to get their content out there without being in danger of having there be a legal barrier in their way. We work at the intersection of three areas in which Cardozo has tremendous strengths. We work at the intersection of intellectual property law, one of Cardozo's great strengths and something that draws lots and lots of students here. We work in the intersection of clinical work. That's what we do instead of just learn. So we're actually practicing. Everyone in the clinic and who's working for the center is practicing as a lawyer at the same time. And the intersection of transactional law, essentially corporate law. There's a little bit of First Amendment law thrown in there as well. Taking this interdisciplinary approach really allows us to support our filmmakers, to support the video journalists we represent, to support the visual advocates who we represent, to help them get their mission out there, their message, to tell the stories of often traditionally underrepresented groups, to diversify who is in front of and behind those messages, and to do so in a way that at the same time educates our students in practicing at the highest level of law. As we move forward, big questions of intellectual property ownership, of AI, of new areas of transactional law, of questions, First Amendment questions that come up, these are cutting edge areas. The Center for Visual Advocacy and the Filmmakers Legal Clinic aims to combine all of these together and really leave our students in a place where they are at the cutting edge of practice. One of the most amazing things, and there are many amazing things that I love about doing this work and working with our students to do this work, is that we actually get to see the impact that our work has. We represented a film that was in the healthcare space that was really pushing on healthcare inequity in the United States. That message made its way into the Biden administration, into the State of the Union address, and we saw a noticeable change when the administration forced insurance companies to negotiate down the price of drugs. We are working in such a broad range of areas, and one of the fun things about the work that we do and the impactful things about the work that we do is we are able to think of questions of racial justice, of gender justice, of economic disparity, of the of the schools to prison pipeline, of thinking of LGBTQ plus rights, of thinking of questions of religious minorities and how they're protected, of questions of freedom of speech and how we manage that, of thinking of individuals with disabilities. And we're able to do sort of this broad range of work, whether that's in the question of environmental justice or gun control or reproductive rights. And what's amazing about the work that we do is we're able to help in all of those areas through utilizing sort of the highest legal tools that are available to us. And we get to see the impact at every moment. What we see is we start with a project. We're not sure that project will get made. We support them. They get distribution. They get into a film festival, or they're able to publish that piece of video journalism. And then we're able to trace the incredible impact that these projects have had, whether that's about curriculum in Chicago City public schools and thinking about what it's like to bring stories of underrepresented minorities into the curriculum in a way that it hasn't. Whether it's a narrative story that tells the experience of an undocumented immigrant here in the United States and the day-to-day fear they live with, and that making it to HBO, and then us seeing the impact that that had. And at each point along the way, we're there with them, we're holding their hands, we're supporting them through legal work, but then get to see the ultimate impact it has on society and culture, and ultimately policy and law. One of the many ways we have impact is we have wonderful partners. In the clinic and in the Center of Visual Advocacy, we focus on three main areas of impact. So we engage primarily in individual client representation, in intensive, high-level working with particular clients. And the typical client to go through the clinic gets on average the equivalent of $55,000 of free legal services. It has enormous impact on those projects and gets them made. We have a whole host of industry partners, Sundance, for example, being one of them. And as an official partner of Sundance, we do, and lots of other festivals or film organizations and institutes, we do training for those artists, video journalists, and filmmakers all through the year. And students both learn how to do those trainings, and it's an incredible legal skill to be able to translate something that you know deeply into something that a non-lawyer can understand. And it also allows us to leverage the model we have here and have global impact through that work and through our website. The third piece is we do pop-up legal clinics where we go into areas, NYU Production Labs or Bronx Filmmakers Collective or Ghetto Film School or the Miranda Family Foundation Fellows. We go to some of our partners and we provide sort of in the moment, quick legal advice, which is able to reshift projects and move them in the right direction before they make any mistakes. As a group, we are student-driven and student-focused. And one of the most amazing things is to watch the alum network that grows out of doing this work. So when we see sort of longitudinally the alums who are in this work, doing this work, and the way they support current students and recent alums, it's really wonderful to watch sort of the alum network grow that's trying to focus on doing this work in the long term.